Hello, hello. What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and my God, it doesn't feel right unless I have a certain quota of bad films to talk about throughout the year.
What are my thoughts? Thoughts on Jason coming out of the lake? He looks badass. That's my thoughts, goddammit.
This time, it's no different. This movie fits the bill in every way possible. I am talking about Imaginary, 2024 film that was directed by Jeff Wadlow, and it's produced by Jason Blum. Now, I have gone on record countless times for saying that I respect Jason Blum, almost similar to the way that I respect Tyler Perry, which, have you ever heard that comparison? But being that they produce their own films, they run their own movie studio, they make sure they have the smallest budgets that they can for their films so that you can almost guarantee a profit. You can almost guarantee that it will make their money back and then some. So, business-wise, strategy-wise, makes all the sense in the world. I would love to be in a position like that to where you can make all of these movies and you're never losing money. Fucking A. That's the smartest thing ever. The problem is that sometimes, not every time, there's a few examples of Jason Blum produced horror movies that are really good and are sort of gone on to sort of be cult classics or just highly appreciated films. But a lot of times there are movies that you can tell he just sprung together. There was no real original great idea. There was nothing fresh and new to bring to the table. And after you get done watching it, you think, why was this done? Like, what purpose? Other than the money. And maybe there is no other purpose. Maybe the money is the only reason. This film, you have Jessica, who has just married this guy, and he has 2 kids already. So they're trying to make that work, that dynamic of her being the stepmother, and the kids, specifically the teenage daughter, is giving her grief. Stop me if you've heard this before. And then they just end up moving back to Jessica's old house that she grew up in. A lot of bad shit happened there, though, that she kind of sort of doesn't really remember. And once they're there, the bad stuff, what do you know, starts happening again. And it all revolves around this dumb stuffed bear named Chauncey. Chauncey the bear. I feel like because of the success of films like Annabelle, where it's just this doll or this toy that's possessed, or maybe has a demon in it, or has some sort of supernatural issue going on, and you put a little child, preferably a little girl, because it's easy to gain sympathy and fear off of, oh no, I hope nothing happens to the child. How many fucking horror films do this? Seriously, a lot. I'm kind of getting sick of it. I'm kind of getting to the point where I am begging for something different. I'm begging for something that I can sink my teeth into, that I can feel like, wow, some real thought, effort, and talent went into said movie. I don't want a half-assed film. I don't want a movie where it feels like everybody in front of the camera and behind the camera were half asleep while they were making this goddamn film. I mean, no offense to the actors. For example, Jessica, the main character, is played by DeWanda Wise. I think she's fine. She's fine with the material that she's given. You could tell that she's just trying to make this all work and make us give a shit about her backstory, about what happened to her father when she was a kid. And sure, on the surface level, it's sad, but man, everything else surrounding it, it's just, I don't give a fuck. I don't. All of the minute details of what happened and how exactly happened, I just didn't care. I sat through a lot of those flashbacks, or these moments where characters would randomly show up and try to explain stuff like this old lady who I guess was her babysitter when she was a kid, and she still lives there. She just walks up and starts giving all the backstory randomly, and I'm like, who the fuck is this lady? Why does every lazy horror film have an old person who knows everything? And they're just like, oh, you're all gonna die tonight. Pretty much, she didn't say that, but that's the vibes that she was giving. The husband is played by Tom Payne, who I knew he looked familiar as I was looking at him. He was on The Walking Dead. He played a character named Jesus, and I really liked him on The Walking Dead. Here, he's just here for like 2 scenes, and then he bounces. I guess he's a musician. He goes on tour, so he says, all right, I gotta go on my next gig, so see you later. And so he leaves Jessica with the 2 kids. And like, I get it, I guess, as far as if you wanted to make the movie about the female character, especially the daughters having to get more along with her, the stepmother. There's even a scene where the real mother shows up randomly because I guess she went crazy. She's supposed to be in the hospital, blah, 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 bullshit. And I get that. It just seemed very weird how he just left. The 2 daughters, the youngest daughter, who's mostly in peril because she's interacting the most with this Chauncey stuffed bear, is named Alice. And the actress was fine. She's a very young girl. As far as young kid actors go in horror films, I've seen plenty worse. The girl did what she had to do, so good for her. And she wasn't the most rude and mean to Jessica, the stepmother. That actually goes to the oldest sister, the teenage daughter, who was such a bitch and was so annoying. I mean, I get it. I get that probably 9 times out of 10 scenarios where kids have to interact with the new stepmother, and especially if they're a teenager, they're going to be dicks. Hell, teenagers are going to be dicks and assholes to their real biological parents. Never mind a step-parent coming in and trying to sort of take that role. I get it. I get the idea behind it, but motherfucker, have I seen this 1,000 times. And all it does is make me not care about this teenage girl, is make me sit here and watch her and go, kill her off. Because I couldn't care less if anything else happens. Also, when you get to the actual horror of this, so you have this stuffed bear, like I said. And the reason why I bring up Annabelle and bring up really anything of that type is the stuffed bear just sits there. There's so many scenes where it's just sitting in the corner, sitting on the bed, sitting in a chair, and it's supposed to be creepy because the camera lingers and stays on it for a long ass time, but nothing happens. It doesn't move, even it doesn't move its head or its eyes. There's nothing creepy about this fucking stuffed bear. And then there's other random scenes where I guess the bear randomly wants to show its true demonic form, so it turns into this giant beast of a bear type thing. But like I said, the budget's cheap as fuck, so it looks awful. It looks terrible. It makes you laugh out loud. If that's the desired effect, Jason Blum, then you succeeded, because this looked terrible and it was not scary whatsoever. There's a whole third act of this movie that reminded me of Insidious, where they're supposed to go into the further, where in this movie they're supposed to go into this supernatural ghost-like realm. I don't really know what the fuck the point of that was. It was highly confusing, and it was just one hallway. Again, with the cheapness and just how they didn't really know what to do with the set. It was like it's a creative idea, but because it looks so cheap and looks so bad, I was not enjoying it. I was not prepared to go along with the BS that was to come with the third act of this film. I did not enjoy this movie. I thought this was a huge waste of time. Thankfully, I watched it at home, because if I did go to the theater, which I almost did, I thought about it back when this was out, and thank God I didn't, because if I did go to the theater, I would have walked out. This absolutely would have been one of my walkout of the films, even in theaters. I only give myself 2 times a year to do it, and I would have gladly have done it with this piece of shit. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you too saw Imaginary. Am I being too harsh, or do you agree that this movie absolutely sucked? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.